If you have suffered from a PIP fracture, means you fractured this middle knuckle right here, here are some things not to do, right? I'm sharing what not to do because I've seen people do it and I want to make sure that you're not going to make your hand injury worse by doing these things. So I worked with someone, she actually came in, she fractured her hand and she tried to relocate it by herself. And that means she was like, oh, let me just put it back into place because I guess her finger was looking out of place. Well, by trying to put herself back into place, she actually fractured her finger worse. Like it was a small fracture and it was a little dislocated. And she was like, let me pop that sucker back in. Boom. And then she ended up fracturing it even further. And when you look at it straight, it didn't look like anything. But when she went to make a fist, her finger was like crisscrossed all the way to the side of her hand, which then means like she had more of a displaced fracture. Means like the whole thing just broke. So if you think that you have a fracture, or not sure if you have a fracture, it's really important to get to the right medical person, a hand surgeon, go to an urgent center. Don't try to put it back into place, right, by yourself, because you can cause yourself more injury. Now, once you have a fracture and you've figured out it's stable, maybe you needed to have surgery. As a certified hand therapist, my name is Huang, by the way. My name is Huang Chuan. I'm an occupational therapist and certified hand therapist. Once your fracture is stable, then I can share with you some what not to do when it comes to the rehab, the therapy of your fracture. One of the things about fractures of these PIP knuckles is they're very stubborn, they get really stiff, right? So, one of the most important things about these not to do's, right, is to not immobilize it long, right? It does not need to be immobilized essentially between no more than 2 weeks, right? For the most part. Now, if it's really unstable, you should have consulted a doctor and they would have stabilized it. Once they stabilize it, you're actually allowed to start moving right away. If you fractured it and it's a small fracture and you didn't need surgery, usually they immobilize it for about 2 weeks and then they allow you to start moving. And there's specific ways to move so that you don't disrupt the healing parts of the fracture. But you don't want to immobilize your fingers. You don't want to immobilize all of your fingers, all of your wrists, especially if there was no injuries to them. So I see that all the time. And I know it might sound so simple. If you're like, of course I knew that. I will tell you that when it happens to you, a lot of times people are scared, they're unsure about what to do. And so they stop moving altogether. And then you develop such severe stiffness that then the therapy process and everything like that takes so much longer. So do not immobilize it longer than you're supposed to. And the best way to find out how long to immobilize it is to actually talk to your occupational therapist or certified hand therapist, okay? It just depends on the severity of your injury, the nature of your injury, and how long it's been. The second thing you don't want to do is just pump your hand like this all the time. So when people get really stiff, this is what I notice in every single patient. I've been a therapist for over 20 years. I've worked with nothing but hand injuries for the most part, and people cannot help it but to pump their hand like this all day. They've been watching, or sometimes even doctors, other therapists tell them, put a ball in there and get your hand stronger. If you do that, you can develop tendonitis, you can develop trigger finger, you can keep that stiffness longer and cause yourself more pain. So there are very technical ways of moving a PIP fracture so that you don't develop complications. And I never recommend just pumping your hand like this. I've seen so many issues. Believe me, I've seen so many issues. Well, believe me or not, but don't do it. Don't do it. Get real technical exercises that will help you get really great movement and results from your fracture. All right. So don't immobilize it longer and don't just willy-nilly move it. There's technical ways. The other thing with PIP fractures is don't delay. Don't delay in getting professional help. I see so many people. Actually, I put out this video and tons of people hated it because they were like, "You didn't tell me exactly what to do." I was probably a video I did like years ago, and in this video, I'm not going to tell you exactly what to do. There's other videos I'm going to tell you exactly what to do, but that might not be the only thing that you do. But don't delay on getting help. And you don't have to go like a million times. You might just, if you're somebody who watches YouTube videos and you just like, I just want to know what to do. I did a video where it's the top 3 exercises, but sometimes people just don't do it right. I'm just going to say that. Some people don't do it right. I've seen it. I've worked with hundreds of, and thousands of hand injuries. And it's hard to do your own therapy, especially when it's really painful. So don't delay. Do not delay when it comes to PIP fractures in getting professional help so that you can know exactly what's possible, exactly what to do based on where you're at with your particular injury. And those are the main 3 do not do. I don't think of immobilization is probably one of the worst things, right? One of the worst things. You can learn how to do certain things and, like some of the exercises on your own, but immobilizing it really long and immobilizing parts that don't need to be immobilized, probably some of the worst culprits of, after a PIP fracture. So if you have more questions like this, or what to do with your PIP fractures, I have other videos on my channel. You can like and subscribe, and I'll be sharing more of those over time. But if you need immediate help, which is what I recommend, look for a certified hand therapist in your area to help you figure out what to do next and get really technical so you can get results fast. You can like and subscribe if these videos help you, and leave me a comment if you have more questions, and I'll probably make another video for you. All right, thanks.